Alright, how to grind air vehicles. This is pretty simple, pretty easy. It all just depends on what you want to do. So if your main goal is to come down here and just have something high tier, maybe you want this F14, these two center lines are what you're going to want to start grinding. So by coming down these center lines, there are just a bunch of folded vehicles. Obviously, since they're folded, the reduction in RP is pretty good. That's what you're wanting. So whereas this jet will take 82k RP, this one only takes about half. Doing that, you can come down the center line and you're gonna hit a bunch of folded vehicles. You're doing that because you need 5 of the previous rank. So in this little grouping right here, we already got 1, 2, 3, 2 folded vehicles. And that's going to be enough to already get down here. So that's just if you want high tier planes. If you're going for ground battles, a lot of these strikers over here are really good. P-47s obviously are really good, and then some of these. So in ground battles, you're probably just wanting a decent bomb loadout, something to mess up some tanks with, and that is mainly over here. Especially with these, you get the little cannons. You can get a bunch of ground kills. It all depends on what you want to do. So for the best XP per game, you're looking at bombers, mainly because of their loadouts, as you can see here. Clicking on these bomb loadouts will tell you exactly how much base damage you are going to get. And the base damage is insane. This plane alone will be able to take out the whole line of bases. So 4 bases, 1 drop per base. Also, it's important to know how much you need per base. This plane will actually not take out a base. It will sometimes with this bomb loadout, but it leaves a little bit on most bases, given how high tier it is. So yeah, the base damage just changes off your BR. Lower tier bases have around 2,000 pounds of damage they need done. Higher tier is closer to 5. Now that you know what you want to grind and how you want to grind it, I'm going to jump in a few games with these 3 planes. Frontline bombers, the long-range bomber, and the strike aircraft. Now the playstyle does change up a little bit as you go from low to mid to high BR, but I'll show you guys how I play all those out. Alright, so for this, we are a frontline bomber. We are going to take our biggest bomb and make sure your fuel is at the minimum it can be. That'll make sure you are decently fast. We're just going to dive in on any base we want. Pay attention to where airfield is. Kind of gives you an idea on where planes are going to generally be. So this top base is pretty safe. And then, obviously, the closer you get to their base, a little bit more dangerous, but we're just going to dive in there, drop a bomb, and then we'll decide what to do after that. Alright, so we are approaching our target, and we'll just go ahead and drop that out. So there we go, 1 bomb out. That should destroy it. Hopefully. That guy might do a little bit of damage to our base. Let's see where our bomb's at. Nice. Alright, so there we go, 1 base down. As you can see, the grams over here, base is gone. And our gram weight is only 0.3 pounds or whatever this is in. Who knows? You'll see later on that that number will change and it'll start going up to about 0.5 to take out of the base, and then 1.2 at higher BR 7.0. But now that we have dropped our only bomb, we have 2 things we can do at this point. We can either fly back to base and land based off how many tickets we have, or we can fly down here and take out some ground targets. Now with no forward facing guns, we are going to use the belly gunner. Belly gunner's not really ever going to run out of ammo, so as long as you don't have anybody coming to get you, you can kind of just take out as many of these small light things as you want. So all the AA and the artillery. Strategy here is pretty simple. You're just going to cut engine power and gun out all these AAs and whatnot. If you have front-facing guns, you can use those, but I would save those for aircraft, other enemy aircraft, because those cannons will run out, the belly gunners will not. So, you know, get a little bit of use out of your belly gunners and tear them up. Alright, well, I don't have all day to grind, so I'm going to go ahead and just fly on into these other fighters and try to see if I can take anybody out. I don't know if it's going to work out, but oh yeah. Oh, it's working out fine. Woo! Woo! And there goes, I think, all the gunners. Maybe. I think we're out of gunners. That's crazy. Oh no, we still got the top gunner. So, when you're grinding and you're trying to decide what to do with your planes, note where your gunners are. If you have a lot of top gunners, flying lower will force the planes obviously to fly above you so you can engage them. As you can see, I didn't do that, so it's kind of an issue right now. However, we can do a little bit of tail movement maybe and get them to cross over this gunner. Potentially. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, there we go. Alright, and that's one guy down. So low BR, this is a really good strategy because the planes are tanky, not a lot of cannons. We are going to crash, but, you know, got one kill, a base, a few ground targets. And you can obviously drag this strategy out to engage more targets. However, for speed, we really want to hit those bases. So, hitting a base, dropping altitude, engage light targets, and then aircraft is the best way to play bombers at 1.3. Alright, update. We got 2 of them. So this is actually a really good run. We got our bombs off, ground targets, and 2 aircraft. This will net us probably 4,000 XP, maybe 5 if we're lucky. And that's without premium. I think it's what we'll be, but we'll check in and see what we actually get. Alright, so we are out of that game. This is what we got. And then obviously a skill bonus, a little bit extra research. 3K. So normally without premium, you're going to be landing probably about 1.5, maybe 2K for runs like this. However, that is just with this bomber. Ooh, give me that. Go for this. And there you go. So, one game like that and you will have probably half your mods. And this thing is fully modded now. So, without premium, obviously it's going to be a little bit slower, a little bit less RP, but that's what you can generally expect out of this plane. Moving on to higher tier, we are now going to be playing a long-range bomber. Playstyle is going to change up just a little bit for this aircraft, given how big it is, and the BR. So let's get in there. Alright, so here we go. Again, same thing. You want to make sure you have minimum fuel to make sure you can fly decently fast. And pick the best bomb loadout, which is for this plane going to be the 1,000-pound bombs. So the big thing here is you want to make sure you start in the air when you're grinding. That makes sure that your speed and everything for your grinding is going to be decently fast. Because you don't want to spend all day just taking off of an airfield, climbing like those rookies down there. 4.7 3.0, there's more cannons, so the threat of other aircraft is a little bit higher. Additionally, their climbing rate is going to be better, so you know, high altitude bombing it is more risky as you go up in VR, especially when you hit 8.0 bombers like this. That is why we changed up the strategy yet again. So generally the idea here is we're just going to fly outside the map, kind of at an angle, and then come back in on these bases. Hopefully by then, the other aircraft have either engaged the long-range bombers that are going straight in, or have started to dogfight with the guys down low. This gives you a little bit of an opportunity to make sure you get some bombs off. Doesn't always work out, obviously, given it's War Thunder. But this is a strategy and one way to grind these bombers. Now I will say the grind is a little bit longer for these planes, given the sweep out and then in, we are not diving. Diving is really for the strike fighters and the frontline bombers. Long range bombers, you're going to want to stay up in the air at altitude and then come in on your targets. Alright, we're coming in on our targets, and yes, bases are the best way to get XP. And as you can see, all the fighters are over there fighting those bombers and strikers, and a couple other fighters, but they're mainly targeting that side of the map. We are relatively clear on our targets, given the little bit of detour we took going out. Now we are going to end up fighting something here soon, but our bombs should be able to get to our bases. Now, we're going to lighten our bomb load here. We're going to go ahead and drop 3 per base. 1, to make sure we get our targets, and 2, to make sure we can run away. Woo! And we'll drop 1, 2, drop 1, 2, and 3 on that target. Those A6s lost all their energy climbing up to us, so we should be okay. Coming in on our last target, we'll drop another 3 bombs, and then we'll fully focus on engaging those fighters. There we go, dropping 1, 2, and 3. All bombs are out, so now we can just start spraying behind us at these other planes. Either get them to dive off, or we'll take somebody out if we're lucky. Just gonna work them. Now we don't want to overheat our guns and overspray, so we're gonna keep our burst fairly light. So we're gonna fight these other planes and not go back to base and land, given how long it takes to do this. And it is just gonna be faster to get shot down and go back to hangar. But we are going to maintain altitude. No need to dive into the big packs because we already got some fighters up here with us. So just fly around, head back towards base. Maybe another fighter will come help you. You can kind of just sprinkle these guys a little bit. Ooh! Yeah. Oh, there you have it. We got the base. We got 2 bases. We kind of got pilot sniped, kind of cheap, but I'll take it. Alright, game is over. 3,000 XP for this plane, doing that strategy. And we'll go ahead and just get something like this. Alright, so that's about what you can expect from something like a long-range bomber. Now, you can have better games, obviously, depending on what kind of bomber you use. You can get more kills in your air targets, bomb maybe a few more bases than I did on my run, but generally that's what you're going to get out of a long-range bomber. Now, stepping it up to 7.0 F3D. This is a strike aircraft, so the strategy with this is to dive in on targets, bomb, and then fight. This has forward-facing 20 mils, so we can actually do that, whereas these do not have any forward-facing guns. Again, your basic strategies are, for the frontline bomber, to dive in or have altitude, get your bombs off, go down low, engage targets and other aircraft. B-17E, mid-tier. You don't need to dive on targets. They will climb up to you at this BR. So again, going off left or right side, depending on where the airfield is facing. Coming in later in the match and hitting your targets, keeping altitude, engaging aircraft. F3D, yeah, I'll show you guys how I play this, and we'll see if we can't get a good game. Alright, y'all know the drill. Minimum loadout, pick your bombs, whatever you think will do the most damage to a base, and let's go. Alright, so here we are, F3D. Now on this map, bases are going to spawn right back there, and we are going to dive in and get these targets and engage our enemies. Now, one big part about this plane, given that we are now going to be fighting other aircraft, is knowing what you can and can't fight. Generally, at this VR, with the mix of being up tiered and down tiers, meteors are about the worst thing to fight. Meteors and Hortons are going to outturn us and kind of just ruin our day. However, MEs are usually the target we'll engage, and we can kind of compete with them, but not for very long. We have about 20 seconds to really take out an ME whenever we engage it. Now, depending on if you are a good air-to-air fighter or not, you might want to just go and get some of these ground targets with a striker. So after you bomb your targets, then go hit ground targets, maybe engage an aircraft if they close in on you. That'll maximize how much you're doing per game, and if you don't get an aircraft kill, that's fine. Now, this is something in the update. This aircraft apparently doesn't drop them both at the same time anymore. It used to, but it doesn't. Now, before anybody says it, no. You could not select a bomb series for this thing. Previously, it was locked at dropping both. So 1.2 on ground targets, and we'll try to engage this LA. Previous fights with LAs have not gone very good. It's a decent jet. Actually, if he just flies off, we'll see about hitting some ground targets maybe. Alright, we're looking pretty clear. We're just going to go ahead and sprinkle some of these ground targets. And then if we have anybody come to us, we'll go ahead and turn off and engage them. But for the most part, looks like we're doing good. Oh, pro tip by the way, do not backflip in your planes. It is it's a good way to get shot down pretty fast. Obviously when you do a backflip, you kind of stall out, and that leaves you open for a pretty significant amount of time for somebody else to see you doing that and then come get you. Maybe we can get just a little head-to-head kill maybe. Dive under that. Maybe this ME wants some. Oh, he does. He wants all of it. Well. Alright, so we got our target, an assist, some ground targets. Not the best game overall, but we'll see what the final results look like. Okay, so that is the run in the F3D. A little bit better. Obviously, this plane has tailspin, but there it is. You now know how to play the Frontline bomber, long-range bomber, and strike aircraft to get a lot of RP. Additionally, of course, you can always just get premium. That'll help speed up this process as well. For the most part, this is what you're looking at for getting XP, is just bombing the bases with these vehicles. Again, these two lines are what I would really recommend you grind down to be able to get, you know, down here to something like the 810 without having to get absolutely everything. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Next video, I'm going to show you guys how to grind for some of these vehicles over here, given that they're not within the strategy. But we'll come down and we'll get some decent vehicles in the next video.